Exposed, the heartwarming moment. A CEO ordered 2 coffees after discovering her incredible story on a frigid Chicago morning. The cafe hummed with life, a symphony of steaming mugs and animated chatter. Lucy Fernandez, a 32-year-old waitress, navigated the bustling tables with grace, her bright smile a beacon in the sea of clamoring patrons. Each cup of coffee she served had the warmth of her love for her 7-year-old son, Max, tucked away in her heart. She dreamt of a better life for him every day, but the weight of paying bills and providing for them wore heavy on her shoulders. That morning, Sarah Morgan, a driven CEO with an air of ambition that filled the room, entered the cafe, seemingly lost among the towering high-rises and her own powerful persona. The contrast between her sharp business attire and the surrounding laughter stirred remnants of wistfulness within her. Waiting for her coffee, she momentarily found solace in watching Lucy effortlessly befriend a table of giggling children. Their laughter was a world away from boardrooms and business deals. Sarah felt an unspeakable connection with the waitress, as if their lives were 2 parallel lines stubbornly refusing to cross. "Your kids are adorable," Sarah said unexpectedly, smiling at Lucy as she delivered steaming mugs. "They keep me on my toes." Lucy replied, a note of warmth layered in her voice, eyes sparkling with joy. "Every day's a new adventure." Underneath the chatter, Lucy shared her story, her struggles as a single mother, the sacrifices she made to keep food on the table, and her dreams for Max. Sarah listened intently, her heart squeezing at the weight of Lucy's words. The world felt heavy, but there was a lightness in Lucy, her spirit unbroken, her laughter resilient. They spoke about dreams and hardships, their words a tapestry connecting their disparate lives. In that moment, time held its breath, the air thick with shared understanding. Before they could dig deeper, Sarah's phone rang, pulling her back into her demanding reality. "I have to take this," she said, her voice laced with disappointment. "Of course," Lucy smiled, though her heart sank. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Sarah stepped outside to field her calls, a whirlwind of corporate chaos threatened to drown her intentions. Yet, that fleeting moment in the cafe began to leave a mark on her heart. Determined, she walked back in, inspired. "How about community workshops? Families like yours can benefit from what I have learned, supporting each other's dreams." The glint in her eye suggested a powerful alliance forming against the odds. Yet just then, breaking news flashed across the cafe's television, exposing a scandal within Sarah's company, the very institution with the potential to derail their joint effort. The walls of their newfound partnership seemed to shudder, leaving both women on the precipice of uncertainty. Would they have the strength to stand against the storm of corporate greed? And more importantly, could Lucy and Sarah hold on to the flicker of hope their connection ignited before the ashes of the old world took them under? As uncertainty loomed heavily above them, both knew they had to confront their ideals, each woman wondering if they could rise as allies inside a dream too big to chase alone. The cafe buzzed with a strange energy after the news report. The flashing images on the screen painted a dire picture, yet amidst the cacophony, there was a flicker of resolve within Lucy and Sarah. As patrons murmured and pointed, the reality of the scandal took on a life of its own, one that threatened to overshadow their incredible connection. Lucy felt her heart racing, the warmth that once filled her chest replaced by a gnawing anxiety. She glanced at Sarah, whose confident demeanor was fading. For a woman who had strutted in like a storm, the cloud of uncertainty now hovered above her. What would this scandal mean for their plans? For the community? "We can't let this derail us," she thought, but self-doubt crept in. "Sarah," Lucy's voice broke through the whirlwind. "What is happening?" The simple question held more weight than either could imagine, an anchor in the chaos around them. Taking a deep breath, Sarah's gaze shifted from the chaotic screen to Lucy's eyes. I'll deal with the fallout later, she said, her tone wavering, but we need to focus on what we can do right now. Lucy nodded, a quiet acknowledgement passing between them. Their lives so radically different were entwined in this moment. Sarah took a step closer, lowering her voice. Imagine if we could turn this around. Use it as a platform to create change. For you, for Max, for families like yours. Uncertainty thrummed in Lucy's chest, her mind racing. Were they really in a position to challenge the systemic issues that towered over them like skyscrapers? But is it even possible? She asked hesitantly. I mean, your company is under fire right now. It's going to be tough, Sarah admitted. But isn't that when change happens? When everything is on the line. Her words ignited something inside Lucy. Could she really be a part of this? They spent the next hour brainstorming ideas, the pressing questions swirling while clarity slowly emerged. Sarah sketched plans for workshops on financial literacy, community building, and job opportunities right on the café's napkins. Lucy outlined her dreams for a community-centered space where single parents could share resources and support each other. With each shared idea, both women felt the weight lift. Sarah was no longer just a CEO, she had evolved into a fellow dreamer fighting for something real. And Lucy, once a waitress, began to see herself as a catalyst for authenticity in her community. Are we crazy to think we can do this? Lucy asked, a nervous laugh escaping her lips. No, Sarah answered, a fierce smile breaking through the tension. We're brave. And together, we're stronger. As the sun began to set outside, casting a golden hue over their brainstorming session, a sense of possibility blossomed. In that cafe corner, while the world continued to swirl with uncertainty, a plan was taking shape. But just then, Lucy's phone buzzed insistently. She picked it up, her heart racing with dread as she read the message from Max's school. Mom, I need to talk to you, it's important. The laughter and laughter around them faded into a whisper as fear snaked back into Lucy's heart. What had happened? Did Max need her? Would this moment of hope turn into another struggle? Their mission, just beginning, faced an unexpected test. How would they balance personal challenges with the aspiration to uplift their community? And what would Lucy's next step reveal about herself? Lucy felt the blood rush from her face as she read the message again, each word sharper than the last. Mom, I need to talk to you, it's important. Panic wrapped around her like a heavy cloak while Sarah watched, concern etched into her features. Is everything okay? Sarah asked, her voice laced with worry. I'm not sure, Lucy stammered, her grip tightening on the phone. Fear nagged at the edges of her thoughts, suffocating the excitement they had just cultivated together. Max rarely messages me during school hours. Something's wrong. Let's step outside, Sarah suggested, urgency in her tone. The cafe felt stifling as they made their way through the throng of patrons, the conversation around them growing more distant as Lucy's focus narrowed. Once outside, the fresh air hit Lucy's face, but it did little to calm the anxious knots in her stomach. She dialed the school's number, her fingers trembling as she waited for the connection. Sarah stood close, her presence a silent reassurance, and Lucy took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. Hello, this is Lucy. I'm calling about my son, Max. I just received a message from him. As she spoke, snippets of conversation floated by, but Lucy's mind was elsewhere, focused solely on the voice on the other end of the line. Yes, I see. Thank you. She hung up and turned to Sarah, her eyes wide with fear. What happened? Sarah asked, her concern growing. They said Max has been having a hard time in class. He's been struggling with some bullying. They want to meet with me. Lucy's voice wavered, the heaviness of her own worries multiplying. How could she fight for others when her own son was fighting a battle like this? Oh, Lucy, Sarah's voice softened. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to approach this. I just can't let him face this alone, Lucy replied, faint tears pricking at her eyes. I thought I was doing everything right, working hard, trying to create a good life for him. And now this. But you're not alone, Sarah said, her voice steady. You have me. We will figure this out together. Lucy felt a flicker of warmth return, but it was overshadowed by the weight pressing down on her heart. What if I fail him? Lucy, every challenge is a chance to grow. Just like the journey we're embarking on as a team. By showing up for him, you're teaching him resilience, Sarah affirmed, her gaze unwavering. With a moment of quiet understanding, Lucy felt the stirrings of hope again. I need to prioritize this, she said, taking a deep breath. But our plans, our dreams for the community, will they have to wait? No, they won't, Sarah insisted. Your fight for Max can fuel your fight for others. Sometimes the most profound change starts from our individual struggles. It's about sharing our journeys. This only makes our mission more urgent. Lucy felt emboldened, a fire igniting once more. She could channel her fears into action for Max and the community. If she was going to champion their cause, she needed to be real about her struggles too. But then another thought struck her. What if all this makes me appear weak? Like I can't handle everything? Strength is not about handling it alone. It's about knowing when to ask for help and being vulnerable enough to share your story, Sarah replied, her eyes shining with sincerity. That authenticity resonates with people. Just imagine the impact you could have. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, a renewed determination filled Lucy's chest. But just when things seemed to be settling, her phone chimed again, a new message from Max's mom. I'm scared. A creeping dread washed over her. How was she to navigate this complex web of personal struggle and the larger mission? In the quiet of that moment, Lucy felt her role expand. Would she meet the demands of her son's needs while keeping her promise to the community? With uncertainty still looming, one thought lingered: was she ready to face the hardest battle yet? Lucy stared at her phone, heart racing as the words echoed in her mind. Mom. I'm scared. The message seemed to pulse, a living thing in her hands, and for the second time that day, the weight of her responsibilities pressed down heavily on her shoulders. What did Max mean? Was he just feeling overwhelmed by school, or was it something worse? Do you want me to read it? Sarah asked softly, noticing the tension in Lucy's face. No, it's just I need to respond, Lucy said, biting her lip. She tapped her fingers against the phone, searching for the right words, wanting to offer support but feeling so helpless at the same time. I need him to know I'm here. Why don't you call him? Sarah suggested, her tone encouraging. The suggestion struck a chord. Right. He might need to hear my voice, Lucy said, already scrolling to Max's contact. The phone felt heavy in her hand, as if it held both answers and fears. Would he pick up? Would he even want to talk to her? The dial tone rang out like a heartbeat, steady but nerve-wracking. Just as she was about to hang up, she heard his voice. Hey, Mom. Max, she said, her voice trembling slightly. I got your message. What is going on? I'm here. Just tell me. There was a long pause, and her heart sank. I don't know. Just can you come pick me up early today? His voice was small, almost muffled, and she felt a pang in her chest. Of course, I'll be there soon. I promise. We'll talk. More silence followed, but she held on to the hope that her presence would provide some comfort. After ending the call, the moment settled heavily in her gut again. What did he say? Sarah asked, leaning in with concern etched across her face. He just wants me to pick him up. He sounded scared, Lucy admitted, feeling her resolve waver. What am I going to do? I don't have all the answers. Lucy, just being there for him is enough. Kids need to know their parents will drop everything for them, Sarah reminded her, her voice soothing. You have the strength to handle this. I hope so, Lucy said, appreciating Sarah's support but still feeling lost. I've been so focused on my big plans, on everything I want to do for the community, that I didn't see Max slipping away. How did I let this happen? Sometimes we get so caught up in our missions that we forget our most important mission is right under our roof, Sarah replied gently, placing a comforting hand on Lucy's shoulder. You can balance both. It just requires honesty, flexibility, and courage. Lucy nodded, but doubt flickered in her mind. Could she truly negotiate those two parts of her life? The unsteady ground beneath her feet reminded her how intertwined her personal battles were with her aspirations for change. As they made their way to the car, Lucy took a deep breath, trying to shake her unsteady thoughts. She glanced at Sarah, who was smiling gently, and found strength in her friend's unwavering support. They drove through the streets, Lucy's heart pounding in rhythm with the thudding in her chest. Pulling up to the school, Max stood outside, fidgeting with his backpack. His eyes darted around, searching for something. Relief washed over her as she saw him. But the moment quickly faded, revealing the tightness in his posture. This wasn't just about school challenges, it was deeper. She could see it in his face. Hey, buddy. Lucy said as she stepped out of the car, forcing a bright smile despite the worry twisting inside her. But there was no hiding the hurt in Max's eyes, he looked shattered. Mom, can we just go? He murmured, and Lucy's heart clenched at the defeat in his voice. Of course, let us talk in the car, she said, her heart racing with the urgency to help him. As they pulled away from the school, Max's silence filled the space between them, a growing chasm that both terrified and motivated Lucy. Could she bridge that gap? What awaited them in the car ride home felt monumental, and the deep worry settled in her bones. Was she prepared for what he would reveal? As Max shifted in his seat, Lucy felt a quiver of anticipation. She had faced battles before. But this was hers and Max's toughest test yet. Would it bring them closer together, or tear them apart? The car hummed softly as they drove away from the school. Lucy glanced sideways at Max, his gaze fixed on the passing trees, their leaves swirling in the late afternoon sun. Each breath he took seemed heavier than the last, like he was carrying a weight that dragged him down. Max, Lucy ventured cautiously. I'm here. You can talk to me. What is going on in your head? He didn't look at her. Instead, he toyed with the zipper of his backpack, his fingers trembling slightly. I don't want to talk about it now, he said quietly. The pain in his voice cut through her like a knife. Okay, she said, trying to keep her tone light, but her heart raced. We can drive for a minute. Just know I'm not going anywhere. After a few painful minutes of silence, Max took a deep breath, breaking the stillness like a fragile glass shattering under pressure. It's just school is hard right now, and I feel like nobody understands. And I don't feel like I can keep up anymore. And there it was, the floodgate of worries cracking open. You're doing great, honey. I see how hard you're trying, Lucy said, her voice steadier than she felt. But it's okay to feel overwhelmed. Everyone does sometimes. You don't have to carry it all alone. Max nodded slowly, still avoiding her eyes. Lucy tried to find the right words, wishing she could reach into his mind and pull out the weights he carried. Do you want to tell me what feels too big? He sighed deeply, then finally turned to her, his face pale. It's not just school, I feel like I'm invisible. Like no one notices when I struggle. The honesty hung in the air, thick and heavy. Lucy felt a sharp pang of guilt. I'm so sorry, Max. I didn't realize you were feeling this way. I've been caught up in my own stuff. Yeah, I get it, he replied quickly, his frustration flashing through. You're busy being a superhero for everyone else. But what about me? Lucy's heart sank further. She never meant for him to feel this way. You're my priority too. You're my everything. I know I've been distracted. I'm working on big events for the community, things I want to share with you. But there's nothing more important to me than you. Max stared at the road ahead as if trying to will the truth into existence. It just feels like I'm failing, he murmured. Sometimes feeling like you're failing is just a part of learning. But it doesn't define you. What matters is that we get through this together. You are so much more than any letter grade. He turned his head to finally look at her, and for a moment, the hardened lines on his face softened. Do you promise? Promise, Lucy affirmed, her voice firm. As they reached a stoplight, she glanced at him fully. Let us make a pact. When you feel overwhelmed, just say Mom and I'll stop what I'm doing to listen. No matter where I am or how busy I am. Max pondered this, and she saw a flicker of hope ignite in his eyes. Okay, he replied, a ghost of a smile beginning to form. But just as Lucy felt a spark of connection lighting the way, her phone buzzed again. The constant interruptions were jarring, but this time, it was a notification from the community planning group. Mom! Max urged suddenly, his tone heavy with urgency. Lucy looked at him, heart pounding with dread. What now? I just feel like if you don't pay attention to me now, I might fade away. Her heart swelled at his words but twisted painfully at the thought of failing him. As she glanced at her phone, uncertain of what would demand her attention next, Lucy felt the weight of her choices bearing down on her. Could she find a way to balance her commitments with her son's needs? Or would she lose both her purpose and the connection she desperately wanted with Max? Lucy could feel the tension in the air as they sat at the red light. Max's anxiousness radiated from him, amplifying the quiet of the car. She tried to steady her thoughts, reminding herself that what mattered most was him right here, right now. The phone vibrated angrily again, but she ignored it, turning her full attention to her son. Max, look at me, she said softly, her voice steady. When he finally turned to her, she continued, you're not invisible to me. Not ever. I see you. I feel you. I'm here. Max's eyes glistened with something between anger and sadness. But I don't feel it, he admitted, his voice cracking. What do you need from me? The question hung between them, a lifeline extended. It feels like every time I try to talk, you're distracted. Like I'm never important enough to take your full attention, he said, his words tumbling out in a rush. What if I really do fade away? I don't want to disappear. Lucy's throat tightened as she absorbed his fears, realizing how deeply they resonated within her own struggles. You won't disappear, I promise. But I need you to help me understand what you need. Can we work on this together? He shifted in his seat, the tension beginning to ease just a bit. What if I need to talk in the middle of a project? Like right when you're stressed? Then let us figure that out. I'll do my best to make room for you, no matter what. We'll come up with a signal, a phrase even. Just say it, and I'll listen. I don't want to miss a single moment where you need me. Silent moments ticked away between them, but Max's expression slowly changed, softening bit by bit. Okay, but, can I ask you something personal? Of course, honey. Ask anything. The low hum of their connection seemed to charge the air around them. Max fidgeted with his backpack again, his voice lowering. Do I make you proud? Lucy's heart swelled with warmth. You have no idea how proud I am of you. It's like watching a flower bloom. You're growing into an incredible person. Every day, you surprise me. He smiled, and for the first time, she saw a glimmer of the boy she knew was still in there, fighting against the darkness. Even when I mess up. Especially then, Max. It's okay to mess up. You're learning. It's a part of life. We all do it, believe me. He turned away again, contemplation written across his face. I just need to know there's a future where I'm not alone. His honesty struck Lucy hard. You won't be alone. Ever. And I will fight to make sure you know that every single day. Just then, the light turned green, and she felt a rush of relief. But as she pushed the gas pedal, her phone buzzed once more. The urgency of the message made her pulse quicken. Mom. Max's voice cut through the night. Please don't look at it right now. Focus on me. His plea dug deep. The truth of what he said was undeniable. If she didn't tend to her relationship with Max now, would it really matter what she achieved elsewhere? Lucy made a decision in that instant, her heart resolute. You're right, Max. My focus is on you right now. She silenced the phone, shoving it into her bag. Nothing else mattered but this moment with her son. As they drove on, she could feel the air changing around them. It was heavier with promise, yet laced with uncertainty. Can we go for ice cream? Max asked, breaking the weighty silence, his voice lighter. Yes. Let us get some ice cream. But after that, I have another idea. Max raised an eyebrow, intrigued. What idea? Lucy grinned, savoring the thought. How about we make a list, together? A list of everything you want me to know, everything we can work on together. His eyes widened. Like a project? Exactly. A project to help keep us connected. At least once a week, we'll check on it together. Max sat back, the weight on his shoulders lightening. I like that. But before they could savor the sweetness of potential, Lucy felt a pang of unease. Her community obligations loomed in the back of her mind. Would they keep this newfound promise alive when pressures began to mount again? As they drove toward the ice cream shop, the darkness of the evening wrapped around them. A realization dawned: this was only the beginning of their journey together, and challenges lay just ahead. What if they could face them, side by side? Would they emerge stronger? Or would their connection falter in the fight against the world outside? The ice cream shop glowed warmly ahead, a bright beacon against the night. Lucy parked the car and unbuckled her seatbelt, feeling a flutter of hope in her chest. Max bounced in his seat, a spark of excitement lighting up his face. As they stepped inside, the sweet scent of waffle cones enveloped them. Max's eyes widened, scanning the menu. I want chocolate. He exclaimed. Chocolate with sprinkles. Lucy chuckled, a smile breaking through the tension lingering in her mind. All right, chocolate with sprinkles it is. While they waited in line, she watched him, marveling at how he was choosing joy, even amidst his earlier worries. It reminded her that moments like these mattered. They were the glue holding them together. After placing their order, they stood off to the side as they waited for their cones. Lucy took a deep breath and turned to Max. What if we brought our list with us on special outings? Things we want to celebrate and remember together. Like a memory book, but a list? Max suggested, his voice bright with curiosity. Exactly. We can add things that make us smile, things we want to achieve together, or even things that made us feel good about each other. Max nodded slowly, taking it all in. I like that. Can we put on my skateboard wins? Every single one, Lucy promised, her heart swelling. When their cones were ready, they carefully balanced the delicious treats as they found a small table by the window. Max licked at his cone, chocolate ice cream smudging the corner of his mouth. It was impossible not to smile at the sight. She took a moment, savoring how fleeting this was, knowing they needed to protect this bond fiercely. But as the minutes ticked away, her mind started to wander back to the responsibilities waiting for her outside this moment. The relentless calls, work demands, and her community projects loomed in her thoughts, like shadows threatening to pull her away. She tried to push them aside, but they lingered, just at the edge of her consciousness. Mom. Max's voice broke through, and she looked at him, startled. Yeah, buddy. You're kind of frowning. Is it about work? Lucy hesitated, but his eyes held a gentle curiosity, urging her to be honest. Yeah. I guess I'm just thinking about all the things I have to juggle. Max took a bite of his cone, pondering. You know, you can put them on the list, too. Things that make you stressed. Maybe when we meet weekly, we can figure it all out together. Tears brimmed in her eyes at his wisdom. You're right. Maybe I just need more time to talk about what burdens me too, like I'm doing with you now. Then it's like we're helping each other. He said, his voice bubbling with excitement. Yes. Helping each other. They finished their ice cream, an effortless bond forming in their shared chaos. As they strolled back to the car, Max suddenly paused. Mom. He said, his eyes wide again. What if we write a new rule on our list? No distractions, like phones, when we're together. Lucy's heart raced. That's a great idea, Max. Let us add it. As they climbed into the car, the shadows of their lives clicked back into place, but something had shifted. They were both learning, growing in ways they hadn't expected. Before they headed home, Lucy took a deep breath, gripping the wheel tighter. Can we face what's coming together, partner? Max nodded, his expression serious yet determined. Always. But behind his brave facade, Lucy spotted a flicker of uncertainty. The uncertainty resonated within her too, an unspoken fear that no amount of ice cream could fully soothe. As they pulled away from the shop, her phone buzzed again. She hesitated, feeling the weight of responsibility tugging at her. What if this journey was more fragile than it seemed? At that moment, she vowed to herself that she would keep the promise she made to Max. But how? Would she really have what it took to balance everything when life got tough again? As she drove on, clouds thickened above, hinting at another storm rolling in. How would they navigate the challenges ahead together? Would their bond hold strong, or would they find themselves adrift once more? The first drops of rain began to patter against the windshield, adding a melodic rhythm to the silence in the car. As Lucy navigated the familiar streets, her mind swirled with the thoughts of the night ahead. Max sat quietly, his chocolate mustache now a smudged memory on the napkin beside him. The car's interior felt heavy with unspoken fears and worries. Are we getting pizza tonight? Max asked, breaking through the haze. His usual excitement for dinner was palpable, but Lucy sensed an underlying question. He was searching for normalcy, a way to push past the storm brewing in their lives. Of course. Your favorite pepperoni, right? She replied, forcing a lightness into her voice. Yes. The joy in his voice warmed Lucy's heart. After a little while, they pulled up to their favorite pizza place. The neon sign flickered invitingly through the rain. Lucy parked and watched as Max's face lit up again, a small relief washing over her. The anticipation of the pizza seemed to momentarily erase the weight on her shoulders. Once inside, they found a cozy booth in the corner. Max slid in, his eyes darting around, eager to spot friends or familiar faces. Lucy, however, remained anchored in her thoughts. She pulled out her phone, glancing at the endless notifications flooding in. Mom! Max's voice interrupted, and she looked up to see him gazing at her, annoyance flitting across his face. You promised. No distractions. Right, Lucy said, putting the phone down, feeling the ache of guilt twist inside her. How could she balance everything without losing their special moments? As they waited for their pizza, she could see Max fidgeting, seeking a distraction of his own. Hey, wanna play a game? Lucy suggested, desperate to re-engage him. What kind? Let us play Would You Rather. I'll start. Would you rather eat pizza every day or ice cream every day? Max giggled, his earlier tension fading. Pizza. But with sprinkles on top. They rolled into laughter, the moment stretching into something brighter. With each round, the laughter began to dissolve the shadows in Lucy's heart. Max burst out things like would you rather fly or be invisible? And would you rather have a pet dragon or a giant robot? Until they were both breathless from giggles, and the wait for the food went unnoticed. Just then, their steaming pizza arrived, a perfect circle of cheesy goodness, topped with just the right amount of pepperoni. The aroma enveloped them, and Max's eyes sparkled. He reached for a slice, and as he took a hearty bite, a moment of unfiltered happiness radiated from him. "See?" Lucy said, a grin on her face. "Pizza can solve almost anything. Especially with sprinkles." He teased, giving her a cheeky wink. But as they dove into their pizza, Lucy felt her phone buzz again. This time, it was a message from her boss, needing updates on a crucial project. Her heart sank. Max noticed her suddenly solemn expression. "Mom, is something wrong?" "No, sweetie. Just work stuff." "Then focus on us now. We're having a pizza party." His determination to keep this moment alive brought a surge of warmth to Lucy. He was right. She attempted to push aside the anxiety gnawing at her, pulling herself back into the here and now. "We're having a pizza party," she echoed, lifting her slice high like a trophy. "To epic evenings and always facing challenges together." They clinked their slices, laughter spilling forth again as joy found its way back between them. But as they delighted in their meal, Lucy's mind was still worrying. Time was ticking away, and she couldn't shake off that weight of responsibility looming behind her like storm clouds. Would she really be able to promise Max what they both wished? As they finished their last bites, the rain outside began to pick up, pounding against the windows as if to emphasize the chaos waiting to swallow them whole. "Mom." Max's voice pulled her back, his expression serious again. "What happens when life gets crazy? Like, when the storm hits?" Lucy looked at him, her heart aching with the knowledge of the unknown. "I suppose we just hold on tighter and ride it out," she replied softly, hoping it was enough. But deep down, she wondered if they were truly prepared for the tempests ahead. Would navigating the winds of life together be enough to keep their love and trust intact? With the rain washing away the world outside, they left the pizza place, determined to face whatever came next. The real test was waiting just around the corner. What thunderous events would shake their lives? Would they find shelter from the storm or be caught in it together? The car doors thudded shut behind them as they stepped into the rain, its coolness refreshing against the warmth of the pizza they had just enjoyed. Lucy took a deep breath, almost grateful for the downpour. It felt like nature's way of washing away worries, though she knew life didn't work quite that neatly. "Can we run to the car?" Max shouted, his voice rising above the rain's crescendo. With a laugh, Lucy scooped up her bag and nodded, turning their exit into an impromptu race. Clenching her jaw against her worries, she smiled and sprinted after her son, feeling the rain drench her hair and clothes. Max reached the car first, his laughter ringing like a bell as he jumped in. Lucy flung open the door and joined him, panting but exhilarated. "Did we just break the world record for fastest pizza getaway?" She joked, and Max puffed out his chest proudly, echoing her enthusiasm. The moment softening her heart, Lucy put the key in the ignition, the engine sputtering to life. The familiar sound grounded her, pulling her thoughts away from the projects and pressures waiting for her back at the office. As she glanced at Max, she noticed his eyes sparkling with joy, bright as the neon sign. "Mom?" he asked, a question on his lips, and she braced herself. She was aware of the shift in his tone, the curiosity he'd been trying to mask. He was fishing for something deeper. "What is it, buddy? Do you think storms can really hurt us?" His brows knitted, and in that moment, he was no longer a carefree boy but a vessel filled with worries, just like her. "Like, the thunderstorm we're in?" she replied, a smile hiding the quake in her heart. "Not if we stick together." She reached out for his hand, squeezing it tight. Max considered her words carefully, but what if the storm is really big? Lucy felt a lump in her throat. Bigger storms may come, but the only thing that can hurt us is being alone. And we're not alone, right? We have each other. "Yeah," he whispered, but there was something in his tone suggesting that he didn't quite believe it. Lucy felt a wave of guilt wash over her. Had she been so busy trying to hold everything together that she hadn't noticed his worries? "Max, I know it's tough sometimes," she said softly, venturing into uncharted territory. "But storms end. Even the biggest, scariest ones. And when they do, we can see rainbows." His eyes brightened with the mention of rainbows, a playful shift. "Will there be sprinkles on our rainbow?" he asked, his giggle breaking through the heaviness like a beam of light. "Absolutely." She laughed, the sound echoing in the small cabin of the car. The weight began to feel a little lighter. "And I bet there'll be pizza too." As the rain continued to pour, Lucy glanced out at the blurred world beyond the windshield. The streetlights cast an amber glow on the wet pavement, shimmering like liquid gold. "Hey," she turned serious again, "I know this might be a lot for you. But if anything ever feels too scary or confusing, you can talk to me, okay?" Max nodded, but she could see the uncertainty swimming in his big eyes. "I will, Mom. I hope we can be brave together," he said, his voice steady despite the tremor in the air. A shiver danced down her spine. They both needed to be brave. She took a moment, then answered softly, "We are already brave, Max. We have each other, and we'll face the storms together." As they pulled away from the pizza place, thunder rumbled in the distance, a reminder that life had a way of throwing challenges into the mix. But with Max beside her, she felt a flicker of hope kindling within her heart. "Next stop, home, where we can celebrate pizza victories and rain-soaked adventures," she exclaimed, and once again, the laughter erupted in the car, washing away the clouds inside. But just as Lucy relaxed, her phone buzzed again, vibrating like an insistent ghost. She hesitated, the weight of responsibility grazing her mind again like a whisper of doubt. "Do you think you might hear bad news?" Max asked, his innocence cutting through her turmoil. "Maybe," Lucy replied, the unease creeping back in. "But no matter what happens, we keep going, remember?" Max nodded, though the question lingering in the air was a heavy one. Could they really face those storms, bigger and scarier than anything they had encountered so far? As they drove on, the city lights blurred into a watercolor painting of uncertainty. Lucy couldn't shake off the thought, what awaited them back at home? And would it change everything they just fought so hard to protect? As Lucy and Max pulled into their driveway, the rain had mercifully tapered off, leaving only the gentle patter of droplets falling from the leaves. Lucy's heart beat a rapid drum in her chest as she squeezed Max's hand, fearing the looming pressures from work would overshadow the bond they had just begun to build. They finally started talking, and now everything felt so fragile. "Ready?" she asked, trying to sound upbeat while 1,000 worries curled in the back of her mind. "Yeah," Max replied, his face lit with determination but his eyes still holding shadows of doubt. Together, they stepped into the house, warmth greeting them a familiar cocoon amid uncertainties. Lucy set her bag down, quickly glancing at her phone, the bright notifications glaring up at her. Tasks, messages, and work demands beckoned, but this time, she thought of Max. She took a deep breath, steeling herself against the storm threatening her focus. "How about we make that list now?" she suggested, trying to keep the connection alive. "We can start planning things we want to achieve, things that inspire us." Max's eyes widened, and he quickly nodded, a flicker of excitement breaking the heaviness that had settled over him for the past few days. They pulled out a big sheet of paper and some colorful markers, sitting cross-legged in the living room, an old coffee table set between them like a bridge. "I want to write no phones at dinner first," Max exclaimed, taking the marker and scribbling it down with gusto. Lucy laughed. "That sounds perfect. You're the boss of this list." As they wrote, the walls around them began to dissolve, the pressures and expectations ebbed away, leaving laughter and joy in their wake. Ideas flowed like a river between them. "Let us add that we should go skateboarding every Saturday," Max suggested enthusiastically. "And we should plan monthly community events," Lucy countered, feeling a renewed sense of purpose swelling within her. And you know what? Mini pizza parties anytime we accomplish something on this list. Yes. Max cheered, the weight of his worries momentarily forgotten. They filled the page with drawings, doodles that illustrated their dreams and fears while sparking a shared hope for both their lives. But just then, Lucy's phone buzzed again, more insistent than before. She picked it up, her stomach churning at the notifications, dreadful updates from work mixed with community news and her boss's demands. A tightness radiated through her, dimming the light they had just rekindled. Max noticed immediately. "Mom?" he asked softly. "What's wrong?" Lucy's heart sank. How could she explain it all? "It's nothing I can't handle, buddy," she whispered, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Can I see?" He prodded gently, his innocence slicing through her defenses. "Okay," she relented, sitting beside him, "but just this once." She showed him the screen filled with urgent messages, revealing the chaos she had tried to shield him from. "Wow," Max said, eyes wide, "that's a lot." "Yeah," she admitted, feeling heavy. "It's just I'm trying to juggle everything, and I'm worried I'm not doing a good job." "But we never talked about your worries," Max exclaimed, leaning closer. "Can I help you too?" The question struck her, a beam of light cutting through the gray. "You know, Max," she began, "it's not about doing it all on my own." "You're right. Sharing the burden makes us stronger." As she set the phone aside, Lucy felt a wave of relief wash over her. "Let's put this on our list," she said, grinning, "sharing what stresses us out." "Yes." Max cheered. "So, you'll talk to me when you feel overwhelmed, just like I do." "Absolutely. Let's promise to communicate, whatever the storm." With renewed energy, they finished their list, fueled by laughter and a newfound commitment to face their challenges together. They embraced the idea of a united front, side by side, ready to navigate their lives as a duo. As the night wore on, Lucy felt a weight lift from her shoulders, the burdens becoming manageable with each conversation they shared. The worries were still there, but so was their bond, the foundation of their journey toward not just surviving but thriving together. That night, as Max nestled into bed, Lucy kissed his forehead. Wrapped in warmth, he looked up at her with bright eyes. "Mom, do you think we can make everything okay?" "Together, we can tackle anything," Lucy promised, her heart swelling. The spark inside her burned brightly, igniting the path ahead filled with hope, courage, and two hearts beating as one. Nothing would come easy, but together they had forged the armor they needed to face whatever storms approached. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but now, they were ready. And as Lucy turned off the light, she remembered family and connection would always be the strongest anchors, guiding them through even the fiercest tempests. Now, dear friends, this is where you come in. You need to subscribe to the channel immediately to keep up with our incredible journey and heartwarming stories. Leave a like now, because your support feeds the algorithm and helps us thrive. Comment below with your emotions and thoughts about this transformative ending. Your voice matters. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how connections can change everything. Show your support. Let us keep this community growing together.